O Uruguai tem uma agenda digital desde 2008, que garante uma ação governamental coordenada para que a transformação digital do país aconteça de forma inclusiva e sustentável. O objetivo é que a sociedade como um todo possa se beneficiar do uso inteligente de tecnologias. Uruguai, mais do que um governo, um país conectado com o futuro. Uma comunidade integrada, que há 10 anos construiu sua agenda digital como estratégia de desenvolvimento social. Ele dirige a Agência de Governo Eletrônico e Sociedade da Informação e do Conhecimento desde sua concepção. Promoveu a Agenda Uruguai Digital como principal instrumento de política pública. Por favor, suba ao palco José Clastornik.
Alô? Obrigado por la invitación. No voy a hablar en español, menos en portugués. I will be speaking in English. I feel like something strange that I am speaking English. I think I should speak something Portuguese. Sorry very much. I should be speaking at least Portuñol, but I'm so bad trying to speak Portuñol, that I prefer to speak a little bit of English and make the life easier for the translators. Okay, when I go outside the Uruguay, I usually must present my country. It's not for Brazil, but in some places you must say, okay, we're in South America. We love mate, but we are not Paraguay, because Paraguay is not Uruguay. So you must present yourself, say, okay, it's not Brazil, it's not Mexico, everyone knows you. But, okay, we are from Uruguay, the smallest country in South America. And we are like a reference in the region in digital government. On Friday, we were with the digital government chief of the United Nations. He was making the presentation of the last ranking of the United Nations that was available 2 weeks ago. They made this ranking, they made it twice a year. For us, this is a year with good notices for us. This was the third time in a row that we are first in the region in digital government. But more important than this, we were in the numbers that are in the zone of the high developed e-government countries. So this is a first for us, a first for Latin America. Very good results for Brazil, very good results from Brazil. You were ranked 10 places better than you were before. Congratulations. We are number one division in digital government. There's something, I don't know if you know about it, there was something that was called the Digital Five, that 5 of the most important countries in digital government made to share the experience. It was Estonia, England, Korea, South Korea, Israel and New Zealand and Canada and us were invited to make the D5, D7. So this was in February. Good news for us. But let me show you some other indicators that show a little bit more how do we are in terms of usage. In 10 years, for example, internet access went from 1% in the poorest houses, increased from 1% to 77%. 85% of the population use internet every day. Practically all the schools and the hospitals had an internet connection. In the last year, the preference to get information about the services get from 27%, it's just 1 year, to 53%. So people are changing the way they got the information, how to interact with the government. They Google the government. They are Googling the government. 67% of internet users use digital government. So in a way, these indicators are part of something that speaks about digital nations. I was looking to the other, sorry. These indicators shows one part of the thing of a digital nation. If you say, okay, we are part of this D7, what means be a digital nation? That's the first thing. I think the first answer is you do everything, except for example, marriage and divorce, but you do practically everything online with the government. That's mainly the things, but you are connected, you have all the platform to allow you to allow all the people to use the government services. So indicators, good indicators, are part of the way to see if the people is using the internet to access the government, if you have enough digital services. But there is another thing I want to stress. You must be available and good in your services in all the areas. It's not that it's in one area, and you must be good and have reference projects in all the areas. And I think most of the things I will speak from now are related to this. So first, last year we have, with 10 years, so we are now in the 11th year of bringing our agenda to the people. And if you look at our agenda, digital agenda, we have a motto. Motto is equity, transformation with equity. Equity is a fundamental part of the things we are trying to do. So let's speak about equity in the ways that you can feel it. For example, for all the houses that have a telephone, they have free access to internet, at least 1 gigabyte at the beginning, and increasing. You have 85% of the households with broadband access. 50% of the houses have fiber optic. Just think it's Uruguay, it's not Korea, it's not Sao Paulo with buildings of 25 or 30 floors. It's Uruguay, 1 floor, 2 floors, with fiber optic in 50% of the homes. And we have lower prices and higher speeds in Latin America. And I think part of this has been made available for the investments that the government telco is doing. I don't know if you have heard about one laptop per child. Who knows about one laptop per child, please? Nobody? Okay. The one laptop per child project of Negroponte. Negroponte is the MIT Media Lab chief. He wanted to give each child a laptop to make like a revolution from the bottom, from like children teaching the teachers. When we did it, we didn't find that we could evaluate how this impacts education. So we decided it was more a project of universal access, of equity. So we gave each children a laptop, and the definition was that they could access the internet just walking for free to 200 meters from home. So in any town, there is extended Wi-Fi that allows them to get free Wi-Fi and access the internet. And from this, most of the families began to have access to internet. They began to have computers to access internet. I do remember when we were making the graphs of PCs in home, taking into account the socioeconomic quintiles, and they were like parallel graphs, so with the years. And in one moment, all the graphs put together, they didn't become parallel, so meaning that the poorest homes had more PCs than the richest one, and that's because we were giving one laptop for every child and not for any family. So with this, what are we doing? Okay, we are having, of course, the connections to all the schools who are teaching robotics, coding, and computational thinking. We have a massive plan for teaching English. They're learning by video conference, and the teachers are, a lot of them outside the country. We have teachers from Philippines, teachers from all over the world, because we didn't have enough teachers. I think we should do the same with Portuguese now. Okay, and there are some applications that education traceability and so on. Welfare. When we noticed that the equity part was not going with the eldest people, we defined a plan giving a tablet for the retirees, the low-income retirees of the country. We are working with a national digital health record. There are some nice projects ongoing. There is one, for example, that won the Open Government Partnership Prize 3 years ago in Mexico, related to having all the providers, all the information that the health minister has related to the providers, so you can know how much time it takes to get an appointment with a doctor, how much costs to get some medicines, how much time is the time that the doctors have to be with you, and so on and so on and so on. So all the information available to the health minister was put in an open format standard, and ONG took the data and put it in a way that was available for the citizens to define where do they want to be attended. Okay, when I present Uruguay, I say we have 4 million people, 3.4 million people. And afterwards I say, okay, but we have 12 million cows, and each cow has a chip on the cow. We have traceability, agro-livestock traceability. This goes to the quality of the meat we are exporting. It's knowledge that goes with the meat. You know where this piece of meat in Europe is coming from, how it was fed. You have all the information available. And again, this is an equity project. Perhaps one can't say from this that it's an equity project, but traceability, agro-livestock traceability, is available in some countries, but it's available for the owners of farms that can afford for it. So in a way, you can have leave this to the market, and the richest farmers can have traceability and sell their products with a better price. Or you can have a public policy related to the traceability of the livestock, knowing that with this, in a sanitary way, you can have all the information that you need to guarantee that no epidemic can be. You can trace the epidemic, for example, of TOSA before it becomes something big. Okay, related to sustainable development, all the enterprise had fiber optic, internet fiber optic. We're working on financial inclusion and digital invoices, and software quality, video game startups are part of all the market that we have developed on the IT industry. Anything we are trying to do should have confidence behind it, because if you don't stress confidence on what you are doing, there is a part that people won't use it. It's very difficult to get the confidence, and very easy to lose it. So from the first day, in our digital agenda, we worked on privacy. For example, we didn't have a general framework. We took the best practices in all the fields that we could work, and we took these experiences in our agenda. So think about these kind of things. It's not technology. You must have a law, an act, you must have the institutions, you must enact the decrees and the principles that made this happen. So we made with the privacy and data protection, we took the European example, we took the European guidance, and we took it in a way that for all aspects we're part of the European Union. We have the adequacy and the Convention 108. It's the only country outside Europe that it has it. So for the Europeans, having data here is like having data there. We worked also in open government, free of information. When you are speaking about digital government, it's not speaking about only making the bureaucracy work a little better. It's not about electronic services. It's about changing the mind. It's about innovation. It's about breaking the walls with the society. giving the data to cooperate, to interact in a way that we provide solutions together. So making the information available, the way we will make the information available is important. Uruguay is ranked first in freedom of information in the region, but it's not only for freedom of information, it's the way you share it, the way you work it, the way we create digital spaces to enact the open government ideas. We have a catalog of more than 1,000 spaces where we're working with the civil society. So it's not the general ones that are open to the government, it's also defined by sector, defined by kind of a complement. We work on cybersecurity, of course. We have a national CERT. We have now a SOC, an operating center for cybersecurity that gets all information from all the sites, not only the government sites, but private sites in the country. We have millions of data that is processed daily in order to get the information and enact before the incident is happening. And we're trying to make the people conscious about all the risks that they are facing on cybersecurity, on privacy, and data protection. So we are always trying for the people to know the actives that they are having, the actives that they are using. Okay, the digital identity, let's speak about the example you make today. The thing we did 10, 12 years ago was go to all the country and give identity to all the people. It was it's the first and more important right, because if you don't have identity, you don't have any other right that you can relate to the government. So this was the first thing. It's not something digital, it was made by hand. Most of the processes we will be discussing here are not digital. Digital helps. I'm convinced that the digital adjective of digital government will disappear in time. It's about government. We're using technology to make the government functions better, and if you have a problem of people outside the system and identities being inside the system, okay, you must do it from the first time. We are taking giving the identity of the kids in the moment they born. All the hospitals now give the ID number at the moment they are born. So this is a process. It was not what we did manually to recollect all of the people who were outside the system. We have an ID card that contains a digital ID, but we are, in a way, going up to another level of identity work. We're dividing what is signing. With your ID, you are signing, digital ID, you are signing with a level of trust of something that is made with a lawyer, with a notarian. But there is a difference between signing, and you need this for every service to be online, and what is authentication? Because authentication is something different. You are entering a system, and you don't need to sign something. You are entering a system, asking for information, or looking for something. So you are entering, and you have different levels of identifications, of security related to identification that is given to the services in order for you to do the things. For example, let's say a bank. You can enter to your account, you can look at your numbers, but for a transfer of $1,000, perhaps you need another level of security. For a transfer of $10,000, you need another level of security. The ID system is more than one ID. It's a system. You can use your ID card, you can use a cellular, you can use your user and password dependent on the level of security. It's an identification system with all the information, all the data for the transactions to be related to the level of confidence on the authentication you are given. So you have digital signature, again, in all the ID cards. In all the ID cards. Usually the cost in Uruguay for a token is $40 per year. We gave it for free with 5 years allowance for free in all internet cards. By 2020, all the population that has more than 18 years will have their ID cards. They will have the means to sign digitally without paying anything. We have a government single sign-on, so you can go and navigate all the government with this only password or ID card. I'm only doing this because I actually do it. It's my ID card, so it exists. So I don't show it because my photo is not very, but it's real. It's very strange because it was the first one, and I think this is the third, but it was made in the first day was actually my birthday, so the 4th of May is always there in the ID card. Okay, we're testing with other governments. We're testing with Brazil the mutual recognition. So if we finally get to it, bringing here my ID card is not by chance, but will be to be able to do something with you in your government solutions. And I expect to speak with this in a couple of hours. Okay. Transforming public sector services. Let me speak about something we are trying to do is having the services 100% online. Let me rephrase, is 100% online of 100% of the services. This means it's all the services and all inside the service that you are online. Because you can begin a service online by filling a form, for example, but it doesn't mean that you are using it in an electronic way all over the path. I always use an example. Let's say you are trying to say there was an accident and there is an e-form. You fill the form or you send an email. You take the email and print it in the police station and whatever happens afterwards. But if you have really a system, if you have something that you are thinking about in a proper way, this information may be used by the police station to send the police car, or can be used by paramedics to go to the place, and the information that they do give, they can join the information you have from the accident. Information of the tablet of the police car can be used also with information of the first e-form or the first email you sent, and you can use all this information for public policies, for example, for insurance companies. In our case, everything I'm saying happens. It's not something in the air, it's happening. So if you want to see, for example, which are the red zones in accidents in Uruguay, you have a portal where you have all the information of the accidents in a map, and you can see the red zones, or you can get all the primary data and process it in the way you want. This is for public usage of the data, for public definitions of where, for example, to put a semaphore or something like this. We have all the services in the government already beginning online. We have 50% of the services that are in volume of transaction, more than 80% of the services already online in all the extension. And we're going for the last mile. We're going for the 100% to finish in 2 years. And we're trying to use this to change our government. It's like a train where we're putting some wagons. For example, it's a standard the way we define the form, it's a standard the way we use the e-services. It will be a standard for the citizens no matter the institution. We're putting, for example, web application firewalls in all the institutions to get all the information related to cybersecurity attacks related to this, define the standards related to data availability, to accessibility and usability related to the websites. And we are doing this with the framework of the 100% e-services. We are taking the experience from England, that is the standards now for all the governments related to user interactions with one state portal. This is gov.ui, a government single point of access that is an evolution of the portal, the state portal we already have. And we have, you know, the omni-channel concept. No matter where you go, how do you go, is web, is cellular, is a phone call, it's with a human presence. It should be the same quality, the same services. It's not parallel services programmed in parallel. It should be, no matter which channel you define, you begin with one, you can continue with other and finish with a third. This is omni-channel services, and we're working for this to happen. Okay, let's speak about data. At the beginning, you spoke about data as the petroleum of the new era. Okay, it is. And you must work knowing that you must change the mind of the public servants. For you to understand that if data is inactive, you must know that you must have a process for the data to be accurate, available in the ways that it's needed, secure and available in the way that is needed. So we also have our, let's say, XRO. We're working with Estonia to understand the extensions that we can make to our interoperability platform. Our interoperability platform is based a lot on the work you did with the ping in the earliest days. It's inside the government, it's an internet. XRO is available through internet, and we think the extensions that we can make for some connections to e-health provider or education providers are better served with, or can be served better with extensions, but inside the government we will continue to use our interoperability platform that is very, very high demanded, very, very much used. So we have all the agencies in the government put together with an MPLS platform, and we have a government enterprise architecture for compatibility on data. There was a prize that was given for us related to this enterprise architecture. And we're sharing with a group of Digital 7, and we're sharing with Canada. We're rethinking all the basic registers, the registers related to persons and to goods. And we're working a lot with analytics and big data, predictive models, and new technologies like artificial intelligence and chatbots. Usually we're taking the new technologies. You know, their technologies we're speaking now like if they were old life, and 1 year ago we didn't spoke about them. So, for example, blockchain. Blockchain was available a lot of years ago as a basis of cryptocurrency. But for the governments, governments are very, very, very related to managing registers, basic registers. It's their activity. So some technology that allows you to distribute the data and to sign the data and to know that it's safe from changes, it's a very good technology to use in the government. So all the governments are rushing now, but this is nothing we were not discussing 1 or 2 years ago. Let's say 2 years ago. It's new. We're speaking about RPA, robotics processes automation now, and we weren't speaking this 6 months ago. Countries are, Canada, for example, is investing $2,000 million in artificial intelligence. France, 1,000 million. Some of this will go, or a lot will go to how we think of digital government in the future. So one of the things that usually ask me is which is the recipe for the success. Taking the name of recipe, I was trying to make some comparisons to the cuisine, let's say, to cooking. First thing, in digital government, there's no French cuisine, Peruvian cuisine, Japanese cuisine. There's an international cuisine. Everyone knows what we must do. Everyone knows what you must do. The thing is, how do you manage your local things to do your menu? It's not all the plates. You have some local flavor, but the menu is international. Everyone speaks about omnichannel. Everything speaks about one global portal or governmental portal. Everyone speaks about digital signature. Everyone speaks about authentication. This is an international menu. The thing is, what was my recipe or our recipe for success? Okay, first of all, I think we had something like a guiding principle. In our case, it was transforming with equity. You see the 100, we see the name all in our presentations, in our agendas. Two, and I will speak now a little bit of this, we have a common agenda with clear priorities. We knew the priorities. In our case, we checked if the agencies have the power to enforce what they wanted to say, and when I say the power, I also speak about the budget. We aligned the ecosystem. In everything we were working, we aligned all the ecosystem. Think about this, it's not about government alone, it's about everyone. It's about the industry, it's about the IT industry, it's about the users, it's about the parliament. You have to, if the academia, the technical sector, you have to align the ecosystem. And you have to have, and it's very good that you have the presidential candidates tomorrow, leadership and strong governance and continuity. So, what we made? We made a digital agenda. The digital agenda, we are now in the 4th digital agenda. Digital agenda, it's like, it has a holistic approach. It's not about government alone, it's not about communications technology alone, it's not about capacity building, it's everything. It's health, it's education, it's everything. It comes from the process of information society in Tunis in 2005. Digital agendas is something that lets you put things together, put some ideas of how you will go, how you will manage to go to the way you want to go. It must have this holistic approach, like I was saying. You need to know that you must change the regulations, that you need to enact some acts, you need to create some institutions, you need to do everything. And I think it has to have continuity and transformation of itself. You must have continuity because the projects can stop. It's not that you have one government and the other government begins everything from the first moment. But you must know that technology changes all the time. So you must incorporate best practices. So we are in the 4th digital agenda. And it keeps all the time changing, but with continuity. The digital agenda is the macro, but you have plans. You have open government plans, you have digital government plans, you have connectivity plans. So this is our actual digital government plan. Just as an example, the digital agenda is made by presidential decrees. In the case of the digital government plan, this is by our institution, so this is like the ranking of the digital platform. The digital government plan, in our case, it has 6 areas of work. One is related to proximity government, other related to open government. The third is related to smart government. The 4th is efficient government. The 5th is whole of government, and the 6th is reliable digital government. And I don't have time to speak about the 19 things. But if you open just one, for example, in efficient government, administrative and document manager is a paperless project. We are putting document management systems, standardizing the way documents interact, in every place in the public administration. So at the end, there will be no paper needed, no paper flowing from one institution to the other, from one desk to the other. Of if I work, for example, to the administrative management in the same box, we're implementing GRPs, ERPs, governmental ERPs in all the agencies. We're changing the backbone of the administrative financial system in a very big bid to change all the way the government works in its administrative way. So it's not always the things that the citizens see, it's also the things that the citizens doesn't see. It's like the lower part of the iceberg that consumes a lot of efficiency, money, and quality of services. So the clock is saying that I have 1 minute, so I won't speak about the 19 blocks that are there, or the 100 and more or less initiatives that are there. I just say thank you very much for the opportunity of speaking to you, and I wait for the questions. Thank you.